138 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Crow. Mr.
Andre the
Crow
Giant.
Gonna get his licks in on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number 1, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
his opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.
Welcome in to another edition of the Retro Wrestling Rewind. As always, I am David Fine alongside the true Long Island IZ. Like I always say, the hell with Zack Ryder. This man does not need to collect figures to be cool. Alex G, how in the hell are you doing on this Summer Slam 1995 edition of the podcast?
Better, I assume, than everybody else.
I mean, you always are. I mean, you always have a chipper. You never are down. I mean, you live in Long Island. It's probably cold down
I'm
here.
handsome. I'm good looking. I'm better looking than 10 movie stars. What the fuck do I have to be sad about? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm jealous of you. I'm just wanted to tell you that. But yeah, I mean, SummerSlam.
I'm like a fucking horse too. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean that's another podcast on
Two horses.
I mean, if you want to talk about dicks and all that other stuff, I think you should probably go to What Happens When, because they seem to talk about penises a lot. But we don't talk.
I listened to that show in a year and a half.
You haven't missed much, but it is what it is. Before we get into the meat and the potatoes of the podcast and the episode of SummerSlam in 1995. Of course, last week we covered another exhilarating pay-per-view, Capital Combat 90, the return of RoboCop.
Return of the motherfucking RoboCop.
I'm sorry, return of motherfucking RoboCop. But there is something on my mind. I know you find that hard to believe. It has nothing.
It's such a fucking empty space up there. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's funny. My son is exactly the carbon copy of me, and my wife she's not very happy about that. She's like, oh, crap, he's going to be a bonehead and an idiot for the rest of his life. I'm like, hey, he's my son. But getting back to what was on my mind, it doesn't really have anything to do, has nothing to do with SummerSlam, but it has to do with the National Wrestling Alliance and the whole Jim Cornette fiasco. Of course, if you've been living under a rock, Jim Cornette.
Or smoking the rock.
Or dating the rock, or blowing. No, maybe not. Anyway, if you've been under a rock and haven't known that Jim Cornette said some stuff that may have been taken not the right way, that were, I guess in 2019 you shouldn't say, but it's Jim Cornette. He does not have the best mindset. He doesn't have the best judgment, because once he said I was the smartest man in Rome, Georgia, which is not saying much.
I think he was just being nice.
Probably. The trash can in Rome, Georgia is smarter than anybody in Rome. Anyway, he had said it was the Trevor Murdoch, Nick Aldis match, and you said something about bucket of chicken back through Ethiopia.
Yeah.
It was controversial. But the one thing, okay, I just want to get your opinion, okay? So Mark Henry on Busted Open Radio was, of course, livid about it. He was like, you can't say that on live TV. I'm like, dude, it's not live TV. This was taped 2 months ago. The National Wrestling Alliance had all the opportunity in the world to edit it out, revoice it, or make some kind of disclaimer, but they didn't. I mean, in your opinion, do you think that was intentional? I mean, and of course, Jim Cornette is gone. He didn't apologize, so they let him go. But he's going to be on a couple.
No, he resigned.
Oh, I'm sorry. He resigned. And of course, you're going to see him a couple more episodes, because, they don't have any more new TV tapings until the 14th of December. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks here in Atlanta. If you want to get tickets, of course, you can probably go into nationalwrestlingalliance.com and get some tickets. But, what was your thoughts on that before we get into the whole podcast or the whole pay-per-view this week?
There's a lot of things to unpack here. First and foremost, that was a lame-ass motherfucking joke, right? And I understand the histrionics of that joke. It's a reference to Big Bubba Rogers and 86 and Crockett. Cornette's also said that on live WWF television before. So this is not a new line of his, right? He has his standard lines. He'll throw them out there. You watch enough shoot interviews with Jimmy, listen to enough podcasts. You know them all by heart at this point, right? So not necessarily surprised that he said that because I've heard it before. It's nothing necessarily new. There's a couple of issues that arise from this, and this could be very long-winded. We'll see how far we go with this, but 100% the NWA should have edited out of the program, right? That goes without saying. I think everyone can agree with that. Just about everyone, unless you're some sort of jockass. Here's the issue that I have. Not necessarily that Jimmy said it, right? And Jimmy's Jimmy. He's gonna say shit every once in a while when you push the envelope like he likes to do. He'll get blowback, right? That comes with the territory when you're someone who says controversial things or has verbal diarrhea, like myself, who says offensive shit literally on a daily basis, and that's all the edited version. Imagine the shit that actually goes through my head.
Good
right?
Lord.
I know, right? Jeez, I'm surprised I haven't been canceled yet, to be completely honest. Here's the thing. What was that line racist? No. I don't think it was, all right? But I can't sit here and tell other people not to be offended by it. What I can say, with all certainty, I don't need a bunch of white motherfuckers, right, telling me that I should be offended by this. That is offensive to me, right? I am a person of color. I think we've talked about this on the show before. Very sensitive to these type of things. I have a good grasp of what's racist and what's not racist, right? So I don't need a bunch of people on Twitter trying to lecture me on how this is racist. That's ridiculous. To me, the people who are outraged about this, not all of them, most of them, but not all of them, right? There's some people who are genuinely offended by this, right? And I respect those people. But there's a lot of motherfuckers out there with this fake motherfucking outrage that pissed me the fuck off. Oh, I was fucking hot. I blocked a bunch of motherfuckers on Twitter.
Is that why you blocked me?
No, I blocked you for other reasons. Here's the thing, right? People, trying to push this narrative, right? Which is, I feel, is factually incorrect, right? They're being intellectually disingenuous. Now, these motherfuckers are the same people who, if I walk down the street, they're going to cross the street, go on the other side. If I walk past them in their car, they're going to lock their doors. If I see them in the store, they're going to clutch their purses. Fuck those motherfuckers, all right? Those are people who are outraged for clicks and retweets, right? Fuck those people. If I see you in the street, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. Because what they're doing is they're galvanizing the people who are out to do us harm, okay? Because when you are so outraged about this dumb shit, right? And it's dumb shit, right? We live in a society today where there's legitimate issues and there's people trying to hurt me. You think I'm worried about what a 50-year-old fucking ex-manager on a commentary at a wrestling show? A line from that? Are you fucking serious? Like, there's so much shit to be legitimately outraged about, and this is what you fucking choose? Are you fucking serious? It makes me think that these people just don't like Jimmy, right? Because he has shitted on their favorite wrestler. And he's made him quite a few enemies in the last year or so. So they're going to take anything that he has to say and they're going to fucking run with it. They've been trying to cancel Cornette for like a fucking year and a half at this point. They haven't done it yet. And he resigned NWA. He resigned. We don't know if he was going to get fired, but he resigned before he got fired, so fuck that noise. The problem I have is that people are trying to lecture me about what and what is not, what I should consider racist or not, right? And I find that offensive. This is pandering, and pandering is wrong, okay? It makes me think. It makes me feel like I should, maybe I should shuffle on to a white person and be like, hey, boss, is this racist, boss? Because they think I'm too stupid as a person of color to know what's racist and what's not. And to those people, I say, fuck you. Now, there's a lot of people out there who are generally offended by that. Mark Henry is a person I generally respect. Mark Henry has been known to get it wrong on a couple of different occasions, to be completely honest. Tends to live in a little bit of a bubble. But if Mark was offended by that, then he's offended by that. My next follow-up question to Mark would be, when DX did blackface about you on Monday Night Raw, when X-Pac put on the blackface and he put on the fat suit and did that shit about you, were you offended? Did you come out and were outraged about that? I don't think so, buddy. So what are we doing here? Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Like, what are we doing? That's all I have to say about that, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Fuck
one of
that shit.
I mean, it's one of those things that, yeah, I mean, Cornette, like you said, Cornette says a lot of dumb shit. If you've ever listened to his drive-through or the other 9 podcasts that he has, I mean, he says some dumb shit.
I listened to every single Cornette podcast, even the ones he's done prior to this. I've seen all his shoot interviews, right? So I have a good understanding of Jim Cornette, the person. I've met him in person. I'm not going to sit here and defend what he said. He said what he said. He's a grown-ass man. Let him defend him fucking self. I'm not here to defend that shit, right? I think the line should be cut. It's a fucking lame-ass fucking joke. It's based on a Sam Kinison joke from fucking 1985, 86, right? That shit is fucking lame, right? It's a shitty fucking joke.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Just in terms of comedy. Like, if that shit was actually funny, then maybe some people wouldn't be offended by it. But that shit was lame as fuck.
And I mean, and I've heard that from people that and I think you said something. I mean, he said this shit back in the old NWA days, back in the old
NWA and WWF. He said it in WWF like in '95.
Yeah, and no one called for his resignation.
But the people editing the show didn't even think anything of it.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, like you said, whoever they had edited this show.
Dave, talking about you, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, Mr.
I love Lagana.
Yeah. Oh well, I guess since we're bad mouthing him and saying that he should have edited, I guess I won't be getting that call to do camera on the new episodes of NWA Power.
He's not gonna listen.
I mean,
I love Dave. Dave's like a super nice guy. I've exchanged DMs with him, right? Super
I don't care. I don't care. Direct messages.
I'm not the Undertaker.
But I think it's one of those things that if this had happened again back in the '80s, no one would know about it because if you didn't hear it the first time, you wouldn't have been able to. It would be acting like it never happened because you couldn't rewatch it. There wasn't Twitter. There wasn't these keyboard, like you call them, the keyboard fucking warriors who get behind their computers. And if they don't like something, if they don't find it funny, or if they just don't like Jim Cornette, and they make a stink to the National Wrestling Alliance, of course the NWA and Dave Lagana and Billy Corgan, they're not going to be like, well, it was our fault. No, it was Cornette because he said it. So of course he's going to be the guy that they're gonna throw under the bus. So I mean, I just think if it had happened, like you said, back in the '80s and '90s, whenever he said in the WWF and NWA, it would be a moot point. I mean, yeah, it's not funny. And
times have changed. I talk about the epitaph treadmill, right? How words change meanings over time, and how pedestrian words from back in the day can be used in a way today where it can cause outrage and it can cause controversy, right? This is not one of these things, you know what I mean? And my problem with this is that when some real shit goes down, when a motherfucker gets hung somewhere, or someone gets fucking lynched, or fucking dragged behind a truck somewhere, and these motherfuckers who are too busy, calling this shit out, that's the problem, because now they'll just go back and defend it. So there's a lot of people defending Jim Cornette that he probably don't want defending him because of his political stance. He's like, I don't need these motherfuckers defending me. Shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's like hardcore racists that will gravitate towards this cause, right? Towards this cause, and try to shield Jimmy here, where Jimmy doesn't even want the fuck. Like, what? No, I'm not down with you guys. Hold on a second. Whoa. Literally, I had an exchange with someone on Twitter, right? And I was making this point. And he said, well, racism is subjective, and that's not accurate. Racism is not subjective, right? It's pretty black and white, pardon the pun. For example, lynching a motherfucker is racist. There's no subjectiveness to that, right? That's racism. Institutionalized racism is real, You know what I mean? That shit is real. Like, that shit exists, right? But the way, quote unquote, wrestling fans on Twitter has taken to this, it hurts the cause overall. It makes us look ridiculous. And that's the problem I have. You're making us look ridiculous. That, you know what, that we don't have a sense of humor, or, you know, we can't find offensive things funny, or, you know, or that kind of humor funny, because we do. And that's the weird part. That's why I don't need a bunch of white people telling me what I should and should not be offended by. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. So that's my issue. The line was lame. It should have been cut from the show. But the outrage is where I have the real fucking problem.
Yeah.
A real fucking problem. You know, if African Americans and if black people, my black brothers and sisters, want to come out here and be offended by that, they're well on their right to do that. If, you know, people who are generally offended by this statement, you're right to do so, right? You don't have to be black to be offended by this. Yeah. Even that connotation is ridiculous. But that's not what I see. That's not what I see on social media. I see something completely different, and I see something menacing and evil about this. These are the type of people. All right, I'll tell you what kind of people these are. They will go to a soup kitchen on Thanksgiving, take a selfie, and leave. That's the kind of people we're talking about. Oh, I'm doing it for Instagram, but I don't give a shit about these fucking people. They don't give a shit about me. The people that's outraged on Twitter don't give a fuck about me and the struggles that I have. They're just trying to get fucking likes and fucking retweets, and fuck you.
Well, on that,
I told you there's a lot to unpack there.
That was a big piece of luggage. That would have definitely been over 50 pounds. You had to pay that extra fee on the airline. But coming back to what we were talking about last week, of course, RoboCop was a shit show. This week, it was a terrible. And then you decide to pick SummerSlam 1995 because
I picked this show. You sure?
I don't know. I'm blaming you because it's a shit show.
I hate 1995 WWF with such a fucking passion. And fuck this show. Fuck this show. Fuck SummerSlam 1995. And here's why I say fuck SummerSlam 1995.
It's another reason to listen to the show.
Give us. Like, Nitro is debuting in a couple of weeks. Right? This is your last shot of showing the world that, hey, guess what, guys? Don't watch that Monday Night Nitro bullshit. Stick with the WWF. Man, fuck that other noise. No. They give us fucking Undertaker versus Kama. Well, fuck that shit. Like, Vince smoking crack? I don't understand. Vince was on the crack.
They start the show with a barn burner.
Who gives a shit about fucking Hakushi in 1995 WWF? If you're a fan in 1995 WWF, you give a flying fuck about Hakushi, and I love Hakushi. Hakushi's fucking awesome, right? Jinsei Sasaki from FMW, fucking fantastic fucking worker. This match on fucking paper, Hakushi versus Waltman, 1, 2, 3 Kid, should have been a fucking barn burner, and it wasn't that bad. But to be completely honest, when you have the other show, right, that's going to debut in a couple of weeks, that has Sting, and now Lex Luger, who's going to be a surprise, and you have Ric Flair, and all this shit's coming down the fucking pipe, and you get fucking Hakushi versus the 1, 2, 3 fucking Kid? Where the fuck is Owen Hart on this show?
Not on this show.
Where's Davey Boy Smith?
Not on this show.
Why?
Because
we get that awesome Bertha Faye versus a Lunger Blaze match. Oh, that's fucking great.
And and you get the barn burner of Bret Hart versus Isaac Yankem DDS. Oh man, what were your thoughts? On the Kid, they were giving him a big push. He was, his win over Razor. He was getting a good. He was getting a good. 2
years prior, he did win the tag belts.
Yeah,
Marty,
yeah.
I think he wins it with Bob Holly. I don't know if he wins it yet. But.
Actually, I think they had mentioned that he was a former tag team champion. But who would have thought that this guy would go on to?
Fucking good. Now I watched him in Global. Mm-hmm. He's one of him and Bam Bam Bigelow were the first indie superstars that really kind of started in independence, kind of.
Yeah.
Bam Bam, he was in independence for 3 days, and then he went to Memphis. But Waltman was doing all the fucking indies and shit. This is when the indies started getting big. So you would see him get magazine coverage all the time, and then we eventually saw him on Global, and he's having these fucking fantastic matches with Jerry fucking Lynn. And yeah, like in 1995 WWF and 1990 WWF, he is relatively small. 2019 WWF, he's one of the bigger guys on the roster. That's how the roster has changed.
Yeah, that's just I mean, and he's not
doing crazy shit. Like he's doing like fucking kung fu and shit. He's doing moonsaults and all kinds of like, it's like he was fucking ridiculous. And unfortunately, he got stuck with that 1-2-3 Kid gimmick in the WWF. Like I preferred him better as X-Pac anyway. But by the time he was X-Pac, he was already all fucking beat up and shit and couldn't do all the crazy shit that he used to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think the 1-2-3 Kid gimmick, like really, that's the Kid. Like that's the deal here. That's what we're doing. 1-2-3 Kid, huh? Yeah, that's the gimmick, huh? Like because you're world champion one day. Your WWF champion is gonna be the 1-2-3 Kid. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's
destined
not
for the fucking mid card.
I mean, that's not even believable. I mean, God, it's like, geez. Next match we had on the card, we had Hunter Hearst Helmsley taking on Bob Sparkplug Holly. Bob Holly, Triple H.
Like, it would have been like pretty cool, like in 1999. 1995, not so much.
No, I mean, and I mean, who would have also thought that Hunter Hearst Helmsley would go on to be such a great wrestler? I mean, he was a good wrestler then, but he has gotten so much better.
There's a point where you can say, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, you even get mad at me. There's a point in Triple H's career where you can sit there like, you know what, he is the best wrestler in the world. That year was 1999, by the way, just to be clear on that. When he's doing his Shane Douglas cosplay, because as we talked before on this show, Triple H likes to cosplay as other wrestlers. At the time, he used to dress like fucking like Harley Race for no fucking reason. It's fucking weird. He does it. He works just like Harley Race, so he had the mustache and the shit too. Fucking ridiculous. So Triple H likes to cosplay as other wrestlers, and his peak, and what I consider his physical peak, like right when he wins the belt for the first time, like 1999, 2000, he's definitely cosplaying as Shane Douglas. There's no two ways about it. That's just the reality of the situation. I don't tell you people.
Yeah, I mean, but
Bob Holly had a good match with Brock Lesnar once.
Once. I mean, Bob fucking Sparkplug Holly. I mean,
like, legitimate tough guy. Like he's a legitimate tough guy, and he's shit on a promo, but he stuck around for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, but
good in those hardcore fucking matches, those 24/7 rule type shit. Wrestling Al Snow.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
fun.
didn't like fucking Sparkplug. I didn't like the whole race car shit because that's when they're doing. Hey, you're a wrestler, and because you're not making any money wrestling apparently, so you have to have a other occupation that you have to be a plumber or a dentist or a garbage man or a race car driver because apparently the WWF is not paying you enough. So
nope,
much like Ring of Honor of today, you're gonna have to get a second job if you want to work for them.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, it wasn't my favorite match, of course. Tonight it was the second fucking match of the night. I mean, it's.
We're already like SummerSlam '89 is much better already.
Yeah, man. Maybe one day we'll cover SummerSlam '89, but.
And it's fucking Zeus in it.
God, I hate fucking Zeus. It's the
hates you back.
You know what? I hate his face, but.
I hate his face. He's all cross-eyed and shit.
Yeah, I don't like.
Racist against cross-eyed people.
I do. I hate cross-eyed people. It's a thing.
Not a big fan of Shawn Michaels though.
Nope, I am not a fan of Shawn.
Can they fix his eye? He's rich. I don't understand.
I mean, come on.
Like if I was wealthy, I would try to improve on perfection myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be looking good.
When do you get
a little plastic surgery here and there, whatever flaws that I deem necessary, I would fix if I was, a wealthy dude, right? Shawn Michaels, you have money, right? Fix your eyeballs. Fuck, dude.
And
you see The Jerk with fucking Steve Martin?
Oh, that's a great movie.
It's a fucking fantastic movie, and they had the part where Carl Reiner's all fucking cross-eyed and shit because he has the fucking glasses and shit. Yeah, that's what Shawn Michaels looked like. Face to face.
And speaking of things that you're never going to get, Red Chad, We're going to pause for a second. If people want to hear more, for some strange reason, your dulcet tone voice and your opinions on the National Wrestling Alliance.
What does dulcet mean, by the way?
I have no idea. I just like
Is
it.
it like flaccid?
Yes, I read it in a dictionary. You know, kids, that's a book that you could get at the library. Oh, I'm sorry. People probably don't go to the libraries anymore, but that's beside the point.
Look at fucking Google and shit. Where the fuck are you from?
Yeah, no, I mean, anyway, my
You
son
probably
did.
getting books off that short bus that comes around your neighborhood like the ice cream.
Hey, I love riding the short bus. The people were nice to me. But that's beside the point. But if people did want to hear your opinions on other things that are not wrestling related, but are wrestling related, video games, because, all winners play video games. So,
Hey, shut up. All right. Retro Wrestling Games Presents on YouTube. Now, you want to type that into the search bar, right? And it'll pop right up. I'm in the current process of editing the latest episode of the NWA 1984 project. We do tackle this Jim Cornette topic here. We talk about CM Punk's return, and we're going to talk about some of the large shows from 1984. So, we're not going to talk Starrcade because we want to save that for a later date, but we do talk about some other shows, pay-per-view style shows, I guess you would call them, large events, closed circuit events, whatever. 1984, it wasn't pay-per-view, so we'll talk about some of those on the show. We're still doing our playthrough of Star Wars Battlefront 2, so we're going to keep your eyes open for that. That one, it's pretty cool, right? And that's it. We're going to slow down as we get, to the end of the year. I have commitments at my job that requires me to be there. Often, real life gets in the way of my hobbies and such. So, it's just the way it is. And once we get into January, everything will slow down, and you'll see an uptick in production from Retro Wrestling Games. But make sure you support us. Hit that like button. Make sure you leave a comment. Call me an asshole or something stupid. I don't care. It's all good. That's the way it is. We're up to 1,600 subscribers on YouTube right now. It's pretty good.
Wow, I mean how long have you been doing the old YouTube channel?
3 years. We're in our third year. That's what we're doing. We do about 1,000 views per video approximately at this point. So,
wow,
I'm surprised 1,000 people listen to me. And it's funny because no one argues with me. I guess I make such relevant points that people cannot argue with me on anything. They don't because when you look at these YouTube channels, there's always a couple of motherfuckers out there that say, "Hey, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. You're lame. All that other shit." Right? You figured that would happen, and no one really argues with me on YouTube, which is weird. So I'm just going to assume that I'm making these fucking just life-altering points on my opinions.
Yeah, I mean, every time I watch and listen to your YouTube channel,
You should watch more, motherfucker. I've been watching. Jesus.
Sorry, I like you said, real life gets in the way, and
I made $1.01 this month.
Wow, I mean, the hell with your job, you can retire on that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Remember Bazooka Joe gum? That shit was 5 cents.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had Bazooka Joe gum in mad long. I want Bazooka Joe gum now.
It's not 5 cents.
What is it now? They went up?
It's like $2.50.
For one little thing of Bazooka Joe?
Like a pack of Bazooka Joe. Oh my God, Bazooka Joe gum. Yes, and that's not even in New York. That's in Georgia.
Is that I'm talking about the individual ones that has a little comic book in it?
No, no. I mean, the ones I get have the individual pieces with the comic wrapped around the.
So like you have a pack of the 5-cent one, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's about $2.25 here in the old Bad Streets. The home of.
I had a Japanese Kit Kat today.
You had a Japanese Kit Kat?
Yeah, they're different. They have like these weird exotic flavors and shit.
Where the hell did you get
green tea and shit?
Where the hell did you get a Japanese Kit Kat?
This kid at my job, he gets one of those, those boxes, like those monthly boxes that people, waste their money on.
Yeah.
Loot boxes and shit like that.
Yeah.
So he gets one that's like Japanese related. He gets like cookies and fucking sodas and shit because he really likes Japan and Japanese people, I guess. He's learning Japanese and stuff. So, I'm gonna take him when I go to the fucking Tokyo Dome for Wrestle Kingdom one of these years. I'm gonna take him with me because he's learning Japanese. So I'll fucking take him with me.
Well,
He probably doesn't like wrestling though.
but, I mean, you never know. I mean, there's a lot of people at my
What
work.
they call them weebos.
What,
right?
excuse me, what? Hey,
There's an ethnic slur, I guess you would call it. I don't know.
hey! Oh, good. Now we're gonna get canceled. Thanks, buddy.
Oh, it's like an American person who's like super into Japanese culture. All right, they call them weebos.
I mean, I guess.
Like they love anime and like my dog's from Japan. Hangs out with great people.
It's yeah.
He fucking sprayed mist in my eye the other day and fucking threw ceremonial salt in the back of his crate.
What's his name? The Great Muta? Is he one of those other old Japanese wrestlers?
I mean, he could be great kabuki if you want to be a jerk about it. Fucking Asuka did that shit the other day. Blowing mist and shit.
And speaking, okay, we're going back to present. I just want
Ray Nuda blew fucking mist at Missy Hyatt's face.
Yeah, she deserved it. She's an idiot.
I think the first time she had something sprayed on her face, though.
That's not white. Anyway, back. I just want to ask a question.
About the smoking guns?
No, it's about current wrestling. Keith Lee. What are your thoughts on him?
He's fucking fantastic. He's been fantastic for fucking 10 years at this point.
But why is it because he's on the NXT stage that he's getting all this wild publicity and wild
I mean, maybe. I mean, I saw him when he was wrestling over in Texas, but I watched those guys anyway. So
yeah,
you know, he's a great worker.
Yeah, and I mean, and speaking of people that are terrible workers, we had the Smoking Guns, Billy Gunn, Bart Gunn, taking on the Blue Brothers, Jesus Christ, Jacob and Eli Blue
I don't even know what the fuck that's about.
With the great Uncle Zephaniah, who of course, freaking Dirty Dutch Mantel, the man will talk your ear off. The nicest guy that I've met at WrestleCon besides
We'll try
you.
to get you to buy his book though.
Yeah, well, the other guy who would not shut up because he was super nice was Tony Atlas.
Oh, yeah, it was him.
And the guy I wanted to punch in the face was Virgil.
I thought it was Enzo.
No, I wanted to punch Virgil in the mouth, but I didn't want to, he wouldn't build.
He tried to give you breadsticks?
He did. He wanted to give me his meat sauce. I didn't know what the hell that meant, but
I know what that means.
I don't know.
Have you ever watched Mandingo?
No.
Moving on.
What? Moving on.
Smoking Guns taking on the Blue Brothers.
Ugh.
Jacob and Eli Blue, again, a reference of the Blues Brothers, right? Which is stupid and ridiculous. This is like, they're mountain men, apparently. Is that what they're on? Like, we know they're Nazis, allegedly Nazis. Or maybe, if you have a Nazi tattoo, do I just say allegedly on that?
Probably not.
Like, if you have a swastika on your person tattooed, do I have to say allegedly Nazis?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I wonder how that works.
If you have it on your face, like Charles Manson.
He's dead.
But he wasn't an alleged racist, but that's not the point.
Clearly, he wanted to start a race war. That's why he killed those people.
Well, he didn't kill him. His people killed him. So.
That's true.
Well, this is not a Charles Manson podcast, but this match 609.
Can we talk about how fucking athletic Billy Gunn is?
How athletic is Billy Gunn? He's really athletic still.
Yeah, I saw him in AEW Battle Royal for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Billy Gunn.
I do.
He can't talk worth a damn, but
no.
I'm not saying that he can't talk because he's fucking hilarious. Watch the New Age Outlaws shoot interview for I guess the RF video. He's fucking hilarious, but it never really translates on TV very well. But he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Bart Gunn was okay in Japan.
Yeah, I mean,
He's pretty good. He won the Brawl for All. Then he got fucking murdered by Butterbean. Remember, he got fucking murdered in the ring. I've never seen someone get that's like a Tyson style knockout. Like he just fell on his face.
God, Butterbean.
That shit's gross.
God.
You're a big fan of Butterbean, right?
I am. I mean, I'm a big fan.
Is he from your neighborhood?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Butterbean. Kind of moving on from this match. I mean, unless you have something else to say about the Blue Brothers.
No, I mean they beat up Shawn Michaels one time.
Yeah.
He deserved it.
This next match went to motherfucking 11 minutes and 21 seconds. Barry Horowitz taking on Skip with Sonny. 11-21. Really? I mean, I know they're advancing a storyline, and Barry Horowitz is beating Skip and blah blah blah. But 11 minutes and 21 seconds. Should they get 11 minutes and 21 seconds?
They should get about 21 seconds. Here's the thing. I remember this match wrong. Because I swear to fucking God, that this match was for the Intercontinental Championship, and it wasn't on SummerSlam. It was on a Raw, and Barry Horowitz won the IC belt. But apparently that never happened.
I mean, maybe in an alternate reality. I mean,
telling you that fucking Mandela effect is real.
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on Skip?
Chris Candido is one of the greatest workers of all time. In terms of work rate, he's probably top 30. Like, he is fucking stupid good. Yeah. And he got the world's shittiest fucking gimmick. Like, if you watch Skip, Chris Candido, in either Smoky Mountain Wrestling, which is him and Tammy were fucking awesome, or ECW, which Candido was awesome for a while, and Tammy not so much, you were like, what the fuck is this Skip nonsense? Like, it's bullshit. I feel bad for him. He got a fucking shitty gimmick. Like, he's a professional wrestler and a fitness instructor. Because apparently the WWF is not paying these guys. And it's 1995 WWF, so that may be true.
Yeah, I mean,
fuck's sake, he does a top rope fucking powerbomb on like fucking Marty Jannetty and shit. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
You know what was fucking ridiculous? How hot Sunday was back in 1995.
She's stupid hot.
And have you seen her in 2019?
I've seen her in that porno, that's for sure.
I mean, but in those, you're not looking at her face, I would assume. But that's...
Well, I'm taking it all in. At least I'm trying to. It's hard to.
I mean, she's taking it all in, but...
yeah, she is. Kind of just, you watch that, like, oh, this is, because it's Sunday, celebrities, you're going to watch them fuck, right? You don't watch celebrities have sex, right? It doesn't matter who the fuck they are. I watched the Screech one, for Christ's sake, because I'm fucking like, oh, fucking Screech fucking? All right, awesome, right? That's great. So, like, of course I want to watch the Sunday one, because, why the fuck not? And I was like, I just felt bad for her. You just, you watch it. Sometimes you may or may not finish. It depends on who you are exactly. And afterwards, you're just like, man, get your shit together. Like, you just end up... It's one of those situations, like, you watch, like, the Page one, and like, all right, dude jizzes on the fucking belt. That's fucking hilarious. That's awesome. Like, you don't feel bad for Paige, right?
No.
I feel bad for Sunny. Like, I just feel bad. Like, she's going back to jail soon, I bet.
If she's not already there. I mean, maybe she's listening to the podcast in jail, but...
Maybe she's hanging out with fucking, Buck Zumoff and fucking Sam Houston and shit.
Is Sam Houston still in jail?
No, he'll still be at StarCast. That's for sure. Him and Van Hammer.
Yeah, oh God. I mean, maybe they'll have another StarCast, and maybe they'll take it.
They have StarCast for. I heard they're putting all the StarCast events for free on YouTube.
Huh.
I'm glad I spent all that money on that. Then. Fucking awesome.
I mean, did you get the one where you could get all four? It was Conrad Thompson. He was the big salesman. And did you?
For the first one, yeah. I didn't do that shit for the second one because a lot of that shit was fucking lame as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah. I haven't watched any of the StarCast, but a thing that I wish I had not watched was the next match for the WWF Women's Championship. Bertha Faye and, skinny Bertha Faye with Harvey Whippleman taking on...
Or Downtown Bruno if you want to be a dick about it.
I'm more of a Downtown Bruno fan. Taking on Alundra Blaze. She was a champion at the time.
Here's the problem with Alundra Blaze in 1995 WWF. You're going to have to import women from Japan for Alundra Blaze to have good matches with them. She was not going to have a good match with Bertha Faye. It just wasn't going to happen. It's just the way it was. And Medusa's awesome. And she was doing shit that was fucking mad innovative for the time. Like, it was ridiculous. She's throwing out German suplexes, dropping motherfuckers on their heads and shit. She's doing the kickboxing, all that kind of good shit. Like, she's doing really cool shit. The problem was that she was so ahead of her time that you couldn't put her in there with fucking Leilani Kai and Wendy Richters and your Mullahs and all that shit. Bertha face here and like have a decent match because Medusa is so far ahead of everybody else. Like even like the matches when they brought in women from Japan, I think that Bull Nakano went for a shot. They have a couple. Even those matches weren't great. Like, I would see her have better matches, but not in the WWF.
Yeah, I mean, what was the? I mean, she lost to Bertha Faye for the title. I mean,
after those shenanigans and tomfoolery.
I mean, what the hell is the point of that? I mean,
the problem with the women's division, there's only 2 women in the women's division.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's like if you're not gonna do it, and they would go off and on with this. Like they should have brought back fucking what's her face? She never even lost the belt. Rockin' Robin. She never lost the belt. I would bring Rockin' Robin back, turn her heel, and have a feud with Alundra Blaze because no one's ever beat me for this belt. I beat Sherry for the belt. No one's ever beat me. I'm coming back. This is some bullshit.
But they didn't. So.
But they didn't.
And
what the fuck is Rockin' Robin doing in 1995?
Not wrestling in WWF, but hey, Bertha Faye was a women's champion. They cannot take that away from her. So. Oh man, the thing
she's long dead, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, God rest her.
Was she like? Did she do like Glow or POW or?
Probably. I mean, she looked like a Glow wrestler.
She did. Like if they're gonna bring in Glow wrestlers, bring in Hollywood. She's fucking beautiful.
Yes.
To this day, still beautiful.
Is she beautiful to this day?
To this day.
The next match we had The Undertaker with Paul Bearer taking on Kama with $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase in a casket match. I mean, come on.
Apparently, he was ripping off the UFC.
I mean, what? I mean, come on.
Can we talk about how he melted down the urn and made it into a big gold chain because that's not racist?
I mean, it was 1995. There was no way for people to vent their frustration. They just stopped watching if they didn't.
I wrote a strongly worded letter. I'll tell you that.
Wow,
about how Kama was a ripoff. Or was it Chemo? Was it Chemo? Who was he ripping off? Somebody.
I don't know.
But fuck, like damn, like UFC dude, like stop wearing a t-shirt underneath your singlet. It's fucking weird. I don't know. You got your fucking 1985 fucking haircut. I don't know why. It's fucking weird. You were much better as Kama Mustafa and the Godfather and the Good Father and maybe Papa Shango. This is probably Charles Wright's worst gimmick. Actually.
Yeah, I would say he was great as the Godfather. I mean, it's like. Yeah.
I mean, I think they're finally like, oh, this is Charles Wright. Charles Wright is the Godfather.
Yes.
I mean, fucking Papa Shango and shit. The Soul Taker, if you want to be a dick about it, go back to Memphis.
Like you always say to every match that this match was great on paper, but
I mean, it's another casket match. Like it's 1995 Undertaker. Like what are we doing with Taker in 95? Like not a whole lot. Like he gets murdered by fucking Yokozuna and goes up to heaven, and then they do the bullshit Undertaker versus Undertaker shit in 94, and like he's fucked. Like Undertaker is fucked until 97, like until like they start letting him work and shit for real. Like I would say, like realistically, what would you say? Probably right when he beat Sid for the belt at WrestleMania. That's 97, so. And he had the Hell in a Cell with Shawn, and that's the one like, oh, Taker can actually fucking work when they let him. Shit.
And he's still working in 2019.
Yeah, he needs to go home.
Go
home. Spend time with your beautiful wife. Or fucking divorce her and get another beautiful wife so I can have her. Jesus Christ, go home.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a beautiful wife. Brock Lesnar has a beautiful wife. I mean...
Oh, I haven't seen her in a while, so we don't really know.
I mean, she could be fugly. I mean, I'm just saying, but
because that, when you have plastic surgery, that shit deteriorates pretty quick.
Yes, it does. It goes past its expiration date. And speaking of matches,
keep on doing it. That's the thing. That's people don't tell you about plastic surgery. You can't just like, oh, I'm going to get like a fake butt and shit. Like if you don't like keep on getting fucking butt injections, your butt's going to be all fucked up and shit.
Yeah, no.
So just do squats. Like don't get a fake butt. Do squats.
Yeah, don't get a fake butt.
Ladies
implant.
out there, don't get fake butts.
Yes, don't get it.
It's weird. It tastes like it feels like bags of sand.
Yes, and if you go to those shady doctors, it could be concrete.
Yeah,
Just
don't
saying.
go down to South America and
Or
get
South
butt
Georgia.
implants.
But the next match we had, Bret the Hitman Hart taking on Isaac Yankem DDS. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk that this man would future be Kane and also the future mayor of Knox County in Tennessee? I mean, he is a political official right now, but who would have thought back then, 1995, he would be playing a dentist? What are your thoughts?
This is fucking awful. Like, who thought, like, I'm telling you, like, Vince had, like, a bad experience at the dentist, and it's like, oh, fuck the dentist, I want to make a dentist a heel. Fuck that shit. It's like, this all goes back to Jerry Lawler not washing his fucking crusty-ass feet and shit. And he got fucking mitosis of the fucking mouth or whatever. This shit is lame. Poor Bret Hart. 1995 was not kind to Bret Hart either. Fucking DDS, Isaac Yankem. He was good as Unabomber. He wasn't good as the Christian Street Monster. But, he's awesome as Kane, for the most part.
Yeah.
I like the soundbox machine that he had. That was cool. Then they took off his mask and made him bald. It was fucking ridiculous.
And now, come to find out, he's actually an author. He's going to be signing his new book at the Barnes and Noble up here in North Georgia the day before Starrcade, which will be coming up in about a week's time. We'll be actually today's Wednesday, so it'll be coming up this Sunday. And I think some of it's going to be on the network, and so it's going to be interesting. I mean, what are your thoughts on them bringing back Starrcades? Like, they're not as good as they used to be. They're just these glorified house shows. I mean, your thoughts?
Yeah. Hey, it's smart on their part. Use the name or lose the copyright.
Yep.
And the WWE is going through that issue with Cody right now because Cody's trying to trademark all these WCW pay-per-views.
He's got Bash. He's got Bash at the Beach. It's coming up.
He's getting more.
Yeah.
It's like, because here's the thing about, like, I guess pseudo copyright law. Like, you have to use some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't, like, just leave them dormant. From what I understand, especially when it comes to entertainment. So, like, for example, you know why they kept on churning out bad Fantastic Four movies?
Why?
Because if they didn't make these movies, they would lose the license and it would revert back to Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
So they kept on making fucking Fantastic Four movies no matter how shitty they were. It's sort of kind of like that, but this has more to do with, copyright law here. But, a similar premise. Like, they have to use these things, and they can't not use these things.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they stopped using Starrcade, Cody would sweep that shit up.
Yeah, because his dad came up with the concept. Like,
Yeah.
You're not using it anymore. Why can't I use it? You haven't used it in 20 years. Well, why should you still be using this?
I think if he ever did get that copyrighted name, he would. I mean, that would be a great pay-per-view. I mean, I think he would definitely use that, and it'd be fun.
Because the game show people are not fucking suing. So
No.
there was a game show called Starrcade.
Yep, and I remember that. I used to watch that. So.
Yeah.
And if you Google Starrcade on the internet, that comes up. So, but
I was more of a win, lose, and draw type of guy because I like to say no whammy, no whammy, no whammies. But that's weird.
that was pressure luck. Win,
Is it
lose,
pressure luck? Fuck.
yes. Win, lose, or draw was when celebrities were with common people and they drew like stick figures and said, "Oh, well,
They did
that's
Pictionary, right?
that's Alex G," and they'd be like, "Yes, you're right." Except it's not
Why
a stick
Why is
figure.
it 3 legs? Oh, I get it.
And why is he so skinny? I don't know. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, they got, like you said, Bash at the Beach Bash at the
But
Beach.
they want to be Halloween Havoc if they can get it.
I think they would get a lot of them if they could. I mean, because I think it would be great with Tony.
I'm sure Cody has the book, has the black book with all the unused dusty fucking pay-per-view title names that he never got to use.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see, but Next match we had was for the Intercontinental title.
5 stars.
5 fucking stars. It went 25-04. Shawn Michaels taking on the bad guy, Razor Ramon. I mean, this is this is a great match.
You ever heard the story about this match?
No.
So, like a day before the pay-per-view, Vince calls Razor and Shawn and says, "Hey, listen, guys, we have a new violence code here. We can't use weapons. So you can have this ladder match, but you can't use the ladder as a weapon." And Shawn and Razor basically went back to the hotel room and spent the entire night trying to figure out how to have a ladder match where they couldn't use the ladder as a weapon. And to their credit, they pulled out a fucking amazing fucking match. Like, this match right here is like, okay, Shawn could be world champion, if you didn't think so already. I love 1995 Shawn Michaels. When he has the beard and shit, like, that's when he was cool. And then by the time we get to 1996, they took away everything that was cool about Shawn Michaels, and there's the Boyhood Dream and Jose Lothario, and he didn't do all.
No, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like I didn't even know that, that had happened. I mean, it was, I mean,
Yeah.
how do you have a ladder? Well, they obviously did a ladder match.
I forget who made the suggestion. I don't know if it was Triple H or Brett, because they were still on good terms at this point. It's like, you can't use the ladder as a weapon, but you could fall into the ladder. So
Yeah.
that's what the ladder spots are, them, getting flung into the ladder instead of picking up the ladder and wailing somebody with it.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely.
It didn't matter because no one cared.
Yeah.
So if Shawn would have fucking hit Razor in the head with the fucking ladder, here's the thing about 1995 WWF, no one was fucking watching. So not even their fucking sponsors.
Yeah.
This is when Vince wanted to compete with Disney. Fucking the steroid trial fucked his ass up.
Yeah, I think he's still on the roids, but that's beside the point. But
He's on a lot of mind-altering drugs.
he needs to just step away. But that's beside. I mean, he obviously didn't. Thank God he obviously was not booking the NXT show this past Saturday because it was really good. I mean, Survivor Series, I mean, the NXT show was the best show of the weekend, but that's neither here nor there.
It's true. It's been that way. They've stole just about every single major. Every time they go back to back, or there be usually the Big Four they do it. NXT has won out every single time.
I mean, then
One of my favorite matches of all time is from NXT's Takeover is Sasha Banks versus Bayley, which sounds ridiculous, but watch that match from Takeover Brooklyn. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't.
Plus, I was there live, so that's a little bit of a. I'm a little bit biased there, but that match was fucking off the fucking charts.
Yeah, I mean, all the NXT stuff has been. I mean, they haven't really disappointed. I mean, I don't really.
In 15 years, I'm gonna be saying so and so was much better in NXT.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thunk? I mean, it's in the past it's like, oh, they were better in Memphis.
Retro Wrestling Rewind, in 2030 when we talk about Takeover, fucking Miami or whatever.
It'll be a takeover. Yeah. Boy, we're gonna be old. At least I'll be old. You'll still be a young whippersnapper. So, but
I'm never gonna die. I'm coming back as a robot. It's in my fucking will.
oh God, can I just smother you with a pillow?
You could try.
No, that's okay. But the main event.
What the fuck was this? Diesel taking on King Mabel with Sir Mo. Man, fuck Men in the Mission. Fuck fucking Mabel. Fuck Diesel for being in this match. Like, alright, so you have your brand new, right, babyface champion that you have the intention of running with for quite a while. This is before they're dropping belts every fucking 2 weeks and shit, right? So you're gonna put him in a match with King Mabel? And, like, the powerbomb is a thing, right? The powerbomb is fucking awesome. Everyone loves the powerbomb, especially in this era, right? You throw a powerbomb, you're automatically over. You throw powerbombs, right?
Yeah.
So you put Diesel in a match with a dude he can't powerbomb. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
Mabel. And it's funny because they went backward with Mabel. Historically, you have your giant monster heel, right? And then he gets beat by the champion, and eventually he becomes a mid-card comedy babyface. But no, they went the other way with Mabel. They started out as a mid-card comedy babyface, Then they made him a monster, and then he vanished because he was so fucking green that he fucking broke Undertaker's face. I'm pretty sure he hurt Brett. And then he fucking injures Diesel in this match. Dude, it was like 3 strikes, you're out, buddy. And, not for nothing, Mabel does not make it to 1996. He comes back, but he doesn't make it to 1996.
Yeah. I mean, it was...
Whose idea was this? Like, and it's not his fault. Like, Nelson Frazier, Mabel, Viscera, Big Daddy V, if you want to be a dick about it, seems like a super nice dude. Like, he seems awesome. But he was way too green to be in this position at this time. Like, it's not like Diesel's the greatest worker of all time. His work rate is below, say, Hulk Hogan. So he's not going to be able to have that Hogan match with Mabel. So you need guys, around Diesel that can give Diesel a hell of a match, make him look good. And unfortunately for Nash, he just didn't get those guys. Diesel's best matches, he has 2 really good ones with Brett and 1 really good one with Shawn. And I think the Brett ones are better. So it's like there's not a lot of guys that he could work with. So it makes him a really undesirable champion because you can't book him like you book Hogan because he's not going to have these really good matches with big guys like Hogan used to. Hogan would get beat up for 3/4 of the match, Hulk up, and then you go right into the Hogan shit. People ate that shit up. Yeah. And people will fucking make fun of it or whatever, but it worked. It fucking drew money. Yeah, fucking fantastic. Like, this shit is fucking garbage, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was garbage. I mean, it's kind of funny. We were talking about the whole show. The thing that stood out that I just was.
Doc Hendricks?
The hell did you know I was my guy? Well, that and Dean Douglas, but Doc Hendricks was Michael Hayes on some kind of drugs?
No, I mean, I guess
he's just an idiot back then.
Told him like, hey, if you want this job in the WWF, you have to cut your hair and change your name.
And speak really weird, but it was just, I don't know.
He did speak really weird. Like, why couldn't he just be Michael Hayes? My favorite Vince Russo moment of all time is Doc Hendricks and Vince Russo, or Vic Venom, if you want to be a jerk about it, on Livewire. And, like, Russo's doing the Russo shit. I think Cornette's there with him, too. Right? So it's like Cornette, Doc Hendricks, and fucking Russo. And Russo's going on about some shit. And he looks at fucking Michael Hayes. He goes, Doc Hendricks, why you gotta try to lie to the people? Why are you lying to people? You are Michael P.S. Hayes. Everyone knows that you're Michael P.S. Hayes. Stop with this bullshit. And then for a brief fucking moment, he looks at fucking Russo. Is like, I could be Michael Hayes right now if you don't stop fucking around. You know what I mean? And like Russo kind of begs off a little bit. And he saw Michael Hayes back for like the briefest of seconds. That's my favorite moment with Vince Russo. And this is Livewire, gentlemen, because that was a fucking shit stain of a show.
Yeah, I mean,
and then he would come back and manage the fucking Hardy Boys for a little bit.
And of course the other thing that I gotta ask you about this guy's gimmick, Dean Douglas, Shane Douglas. I mean, what were your thoughts on his Dean?
The thing about that,
it sucked.
It did suck. Well, man, yes and no. Here's the thing. What Vince likes to do when he has a new talent that he doesn't know much about them, he will well, pal, tell me all about yourself. So, obviously, Shane is going to school, went to school to become a teacher. He's certified, and he's a teacher. So Vince was like, okay, hey, pal, the only thing that stands out about you is the fact that you're a teacher. So we're going to give you a teacher gimmick. And he would do that with a lot of the guys. So the gimmick, him trying to grade wrestlers for heat, he was getting good heat with that. Here's the problem with Dean Douglas. Was his ring gear. His ring gear, the fucking robe with the fucking... He had the Genius robe, and the Genius had already done that. And he wasn't more, he was not pushed very high on the card. So he has the cap and gown too. And it's like, I would have done that. If you want him to come out with the brown jacket with the patches on the elbow and that type of shit, that would have been a different story. Yes, the nails across the blackboard was low grading. Of course, I think that's the intention. He did get heat. I don't know what happened with Shane, because I've seen Shane in ECW. He's fucking awesome. I've even seen Shane in WCW pretty good. You know what I mean? And I don't know. He didn't have good matches in WWF at all. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
He had good matches in ECW before he left. He went to WWF, came back, and had good matches again. And it was the weirdest thing. I never quite understood. Like, Shane Douglas as the franchise is fucking amazing. Like, 1996 Shane Douglas is fucking off the charts. Like, that's his peak right there. But unfortunately for Shane, he just didn't get that run, and he got released. I don't think he makes it into 96 alone. Maybe me slightly into 96, but he's gone relatively quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big.
Where is Jeff Jarrett on this show?
Not there.
Like, what is happening?
What?
Adam Bomb. I don't know. I think he's already gone.
Adam Bomb. Are you
You're
a big
Brian Clark fan?
You a big? Oh, I love Adam Bomb.
You like him better as the Night Stalker in WCW?
No, I like him as Adam Bomb.
Or as Wrath in WCW?
Meh.
Like,
I
you
don't.
like the whole football? Like, he threw footballs in the crowd gimmick? Like, was he supposed to be a mutant? Like, he's from 3 Mile Island? Like, was he supposed to be like, oh, he's some sort of fucking mutated freak because he's like 6'7" and has, yellow eyes? And throws a football?
Maybe.
It's weird. Like, who booked this shit? Like, who's booking with Vince in '95? Is it Corny? Corny there? Like, Corny, no. I think Corny's still Smokey. Who's booking this shit? JJ? I blame JJ.
I mean,
Jim Ross, maybe.
Maybe.
No, Jim Ross. No, Jim Ross is in Smokey as well, I think, at this time. I don't know. Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, overall, what would you give this grade for this fine pay-per-view SummerSlam?
Just like everything that else happened in 1995, it doesn't get a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It just gets the finger.
That's a new rating. A thumb, or not a thumb. No, it's just a finger.
Just the fucking finger. Fuck, I hate 1990. Like, don't even watch Raw. Like, don't. No, it's like, this is the year where they do fucking WrestleMania from like the Hartford Civic Center? I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
Awful.
I mean, but
Yeah, WrestleMania 11.
Folks, if you think this
What are we
should
doing
next week we are looking at Bash at the Beach 1996 with the main event, The Outsiders, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall taking on Hulk Hogan.
No. The scheduled match was The Outsiders with a mystery partner taking on Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger.
Yeah, sorry. The Outsiders with a mystery partner taking on Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger. The mystery.
I'm just gonna tell you, like, everyone knows what the fuck happens, right? Like, if you don't know what happens on this show, you shouldn't be listening to this show, and you should probably just wash your eyes out with bleach. Man, fuck you. All right? The swerve at the end of this fucking show fucking blew my fucking mind. Because I didn't see it coming. I did not fucking see it coming. And there's a lot of motherfuckers out there like, oh, we seen this shit coming. You fucking lying sacks of shit. You didn't see this fucking shit coming. Fuck you. Liar.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, it was a good pay per view. I mean, a lot of the matches, at least the first 5 matches, were of course on main event. And then they had some great action. Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, John Tenta, Big Bubba, in a Carson City.
I love fucking ridiculous WCW because on one hand you have fucking Rey Mysterio and Psychosis, then you have the Carson City match.
The Carson City Silver Dollar match. Of course, you had a dog collar match.
Was that Big Bubba?
Yeah, you had to take.
John Tenta?
Yeah,
you had ridiculous. How awesome is that?
You had a tape.
The only thing that can make this show better is a fucking monster truck.
You had a tape fist match. You had a dog collar match. You had. It was just. I mean, gimmicks match galore. I mean, it was glorious. And the other thing that's glorious is, of course, folks. Thanks again for listening and tuning in on this Wednesday. Hopefully we got you over that hump into next week. But, of course, like I said, next week we are talking Bash at the Beach 1996. If you didn't know, watch it. Hulk Hogan's going to be in the main event, folks. But I didn't want
Hulk Hogan's not on this show. wasn't scheduled for this show.
Yeah. Well, oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to be a spoiler, but for the great Alex G, as always, I'm David Fine. And once again, folks, we'll talk to you in the past.
Happy Thanksgiving, you filthy animal.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow is Turkey Day. Don't eat too much. Gobble, gobble. And then Friday, Black Friday.
Racist.
238 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Pro. Mr.
Andre the
Pro
Giant.
Gonna get his licks in on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number 1, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
His opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.